Reddit Ask Me Anything. Son of a Chinese billionaire. Really scared to do this but also really curious about what people think of the top 0.1%. So, ask me anything. I will not be stating specific numbers or anything identifiable so I don't ruin my own life or attract any unnecessary attention IRL. However, I will try to be as specific as possible, I guess, so the people with tinfoil hats won't call me a phony. Here goes nothing. I am 19 years old. Father worth 2 billion USD, at least according to Forbes. The number can differ depending on your source. I don't really have anyone IRL to talk to because of my unique situation, but I hope I can get at least an idea of what normalish, is that a word? You get the idea. People think about the top 0.1% and I hope we all can learn something we didn't know previously. Ask away if you're interested. 3. I'm sorry people on here are asking you for money. I know it's an ask me anything, but that's not cool. Nah, I don't really mind. I don't feel annoyed when people ask me for money. I feel annoyed because currently I can do so little to help. Sure, I give my change to the beggar every time I go to Tesco to get orange juice, milk and cereal, but still, I guess in 10-20 years or so I can finally make a change and start actually helping people. You seem like a really nice guy. I hope you make some more good friends soon. THX. 3. I do try nowadays but previous experiences has made me super wary, you can say scared, to approach strangers. I also really dislike the fact that I have to lie to get along with others to form a friendship. Edit. I didn't want to talk about this because it's so traumatizing, but when I was 12 I had a best friend who I trusted with my life. And when we were about to graduate from high school I was practically financially supporting him since his deadbeat dad and mom didn't give a shit about him. When I told him that I can no longer do that, he snapped and held a kitchen knife to my neck at the apartment I rented out for him and his girlfriend. I managed to get away by kicking him really hard multiple times, pressing the elevator and holding the door until the elevator arrived. I still have nightmares till this day about that incident. It really broke my heart to have my best friend of more than 8 years or so, I thought, threaten me with a knife. Sometimes money corrupts people. What kind of schools did you go to? A private international school in Shanghai. School fees fluctuated depending on your year, but high school fees were around 300,000 Chinese yuan a year. I can't name the school since I already gave out my age, but you get the gist of it. 3. In China, are you treated differently due to your wealth? Well, whenever I meet new people I always use my real name and birthday to introduce myself, but my background would be completely fabricated. I could be first name, last name, the son of a factory owner, or first name, last name, the son of the CFO of a new tech startup. You get the idea. So no, people don't treat me differently because I never try to stand out. I never wear clothes with big brand names attached or printed on it. Never use expensive bags nor wear expensive shoes or ornaments. Isn't obsession with brands more of a middle class thing? An amusing story. Nelson Rockefeller was showing the newly built Rockefeller Center in NY to his father. At the conclusion of his tour, he said, "Pretty impressive, huh?" To which his father responded, "Son, who are we trying to impress?" Not really. Some are very obsessed with them as well. Also, interesting story. Imagine being roasted by your own dad live on tour. While reading some of the questions and answers in this thread, I remember you saying you listen to some anime songs. What are your top 5 animes to watch? In no particular order: Steins Gate, Parasite, One Punch Man, Demon Slayer, Full Metal Alchemist. How do you feel about what's happening in Hong Kong? Got the question I fear has finally come. This is like Frodo staring down that volcano or Harry looking into the eyes of Voldemort. Honestly, I feel like both sides have roamed and did some really messed up things. Firstly, the Chinese government doing some serious shady things which triggered the first wave of protests, which were rather peaceful, and I supported those protests. However, revisiting HK this July, I discovered that some protesters were genuinely up to no good. They blocked and trashed the streets of Central. IDK about other places, but I did an internship there and it was a mess. Corporate emails left and right about avoiding subways and working from home if necessary. This was before Molotovs became popular and the airport protest. Thank God none of us was in HK when the airport protests happened, but I can say for certain that it's some real Tom F. Kerry down there. Do you have any brothers or sisters? What types of cars does your family have? I have 2 brothers and a sister. There's 4 of us in total. Cars. My father has never been a huge fan of sports cars. He's more of a van or sedan kind of guy. My mother as well. We currently own a sky blue Bentley. Rich people have a weird taste when it comes to colors. 2 Toyota Alphas for the kids and maids, and I think my father uses a Lincoln Navigator. I'm honestly not sure since I don't see him often, but it's something akin to that. Not meaning to scare you, but revealing your siblings makes huge dent in your anonymity. How many Chinese billionaires have this number of kids? Just saying. Plenty. Also a lot of the website shows incorrect numbers. Just saying. I'm looking at you, Forbes. Please change the number of children from to 4 please. So much misinformation it's impossible to blow my cover. You seem like a chill dude person. Why wouldn't I be? Sorry if this is rude, but whenever I hear rich Asian family I automatically think of anime where it's like really stuck up PPL. Hahaha, no worries, we joke about it all the time. However, it is actually very rare nowadays for people that are more well off to be that stuck up. Of course there can be 1 or 2 every now and then, but they're called or fake rich in China. It's complicated, but the wealthiest people, at least in China, tend to be very chill and easygoing. I mean, it could be hard to socialize because people want your money and not you. Well, it obviously is extremely difficult seeing that I only have 2 friends I can trust as of now. How does it work? If you want something you just say it and that's it? I mean, technically yes. Want £20,000? Sure, why not? But that's not. How do I put it? That's not how I want it to be. My father has always been super lenient when it comes to anything that involved money, but over the years I've learned to just get by with as little as possible because I don't want to stand out too much. There's no point in owning a McLaren if you don't have a genuine friend to ride along with you. 3. So what car do you drive? I don't drive. I enjoy walking and biking. Makes me feel down to earth as I hate how I grew up so pampered with maids cleaning up for me and drivers picking me up whenever I wanted to leave the mansion. I'm not traveling far for now and I've got a good pair of legs and a good body, so why not use it? You can always be healthier. So true. Thanks for answering and have a great day. What's your relationship with your dad like? Is he a good person that you enjoy being around? Or a scary, mean, distant tycoon? To me, he's the man I want to become one day. If I ever become half the man he is, I would be proud. He knows when to be strict and when to let his kids let loose. He also advocates for a tight-knit family despite the norm of socialites stabbing each other in the back for personal gains. Despite his brother getting the whole family into trouble multiple times, for example, paying his ex-wife $75 million USD for a divorce, and he didn't even have kids with her. They were practically boyfriend-girlfriend. Even when my mother forced me to study business and economics in high school, my father still encouraged me to read about science. I still remember him telling me that sometimes a person is forced to be someone else, but it doesn't mean that they should completely discard who they wanted to be. He was happy that I ended up studying business and economics, but he's still very regretful about having to force me to study something I really didn't enjoy. All in all, he's a good man and I can see why people trust him and follow him despite his blunders of being a good man in a world where people like to exploit the fact that you're a decent human being. Are you worried that you will be able to find true love without being chosen for your background and wealth? Well, my first girlfriend dated me for my money and didn't give a shit about me as a person, so that's that. I wasn't so smart when I was 15. TBH, I am worried. Terrified actually. In China there's something called aka arranged marriage, so that kind of sucks. However, knowing my mother and father, none of them would ever do something like arranging my marriage. Hell, they even encourage me to date whoever I wanted, but after that first relationship, I haven't felt the same way towards a girl yet. I guess only time will tell. My kids are talking about this movie they want to watch on Netflix, Filthy Rich Asians. I believe the main plot is that this rich Singaporean guy goes to the US to find someone who doesn't know who he is. Maybe this would be an option for you. Kind of like Eddie Murphy in Coming to America. I hope you won't be subjected to arranged marriage. That sucks. Being a freedom-loving Dane. I strongly object against anyone else deciding what you should do with your life. Ha 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 ha, that movie. I still remembered when I first watched it. It's actually a pretty good movie. But, a movie is still a movie. Still something to entertain people. It is not a documentary and there's a lot of misinformation in that movie. I won't spoil it for you since it's a fantastic movie, but the ending is really unrealistic. 1. Do you play video games? 2. Do you attend meetings with lots of other Chinese rich people or something like that? Is there an etiquette? Do you follow it strictly? 3. How many bodyguards do work for your father? I'm reading your answers and you're so kind. Lovely. Yes, I play games, actually quite a lot. Thank God I am writing anonymously or else I'll never admit it. No, we don't really have those Chinese Triad shady meetings because firstly I'm still considered a kid and secondly those meetings don't exist. 2.5. Not really. I don't use a fake name but I use a fake background, so my father doesn't really care if I do something embarrassing because it can never be traced back unless I expose my identity, which is why I am so scared of doing this Ask Me Anything. 3. Plenty. We usually have 2 guards on duty 24/7 at the front gate and used to have 2 more plus a cute doggo in the backyard, but has moved to more digital means of security, mainly high-grade cameras and electric fences because nobody broke into the house for as long as I can remember, so why have 2 guys standing with a hound in your backyard, right? What are the expectations of your parents in regards to a future wife? Are you expected to marry a wealthy Chinese woman? What if you fell in love with someone outside of your race? Would that be frowned upon? Likewise, if you fall in love with someone from a less fortunate economic background, do you know how they might react? At what age would the arranged marriage become imminent? Do you actively date? Would you consider a professional matchmaker instead of traditional dating apps? Thank you for your time. TBH, my parents are considered to be very open-minded and some Chinese people even call them too progressive. They often joke about me dating a foreigner. I'm still not sure if they're insinuating or being sarcastic, and I've dated a couple of foreigners before, namely a girl from Spain and another one from Switzerland. Normally in China, dating or marrying a foreigner is considered highly unusual as they don't hold similar values to traditional Chinese families. Traditional Chinese families would always require the man to own a house, a car, etc., and for the women to be a virgin, and so on. However, nowadays Chinese parents, especially in more developed cities like Shanghai, Beijing or Shenzhen, tend to not be so picky or forceful when it comes to marriage. My Spanish girlfriend actually flew with me to Shanghai to meet my parents and they really liked her. Sadly, the relationship just didn't work out in the end. Anna, by some miracle, if you ever read this, please know that I never regret the year I spent with you and am so sorry we didn't work things out. I would say they probably would pressure me to tie the knot around the age of 25 to 27. They've strongly hinted those ages specifically multiple times when I brought my girlfriend home, and even now they still strongly recommend me to find a new girlfriend. As of now, I am taking a break from the dating scene as I am so ducking tired of having to lie to girls about not being who I am so that a real relationship can form. My first girlfriend dated me for my money, so that has always haunted me, so I had to resort to using a fake background when I meet new girls and it just feels so wrong. What type of careers would you like to pursue? I imagine being the son of a billionaire would limit options. Kind of. I still hold a small grudge against my mother for this. When I was a kid, I was always interested in science. I wanted to do research, invent, explore. You get the idea. Even nowadays, I occasionally read about cosmology and biology as a hobby. My mother wasn't amused when I told her that I wanted to pursue a career in science. She was in fact super ultra pissed. She didn't even talk to me about it and told the school I would like to enroll in business and economics. This was back in high school 5 years ago. Now looking back, I don't really hate my mother for forcing me into a career path I had no interest in, but I can see why she did what she did. To this day she still won't talk to me about why she had to be so forceful, but I'm a glass half full kinda guy, so I like to think instead of me saving lives as a doctor, I can't now invest a lot of money into pharmaceuticals and would still be saving a lot of lives. Always BMR. Glass half full. 3. I don't have a question. Just wanted to say your command of the English language is pretty amazing for someone who is not a native speaker. So kudos. I'm sorry people seem to be giving you a hard time about your lot in life. In the last year I've really learned that we all have hardships in different ways. So don't let people make you feel like yours are less important because you have more money than most. Money doesn't automatically equal 100% happiness. No worries, man. I've been bilingual since 12 and graduated high school with an IB diploma taking both English and Chinese as SLs. Also don't feel sorry for me when someone gives me a hard time because it kinda balances out, doesn't it? Don't stress yourself out. No amount of internet bullying is too much for me. You ever a distant feeling with the rest of the world? For instance, feeling disconnected at people talking about their troubles. I do. Still, to this day I sometimes feel disconnected and distant to my classmates. Hearing them talk about paying their rent, usually around £100, and how they struggle financially. I've never involuntarily gone to bed hungry and or cold before in my life, so feeling distant comes naturally. Despite my many attempts throughout the years to experience normal lives, I still can't completely understand the struggles, which is why I created this Ask Me Anything, to ask and answer questions.